Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We all know that the government is doing its best at this time to make sure that the security situation remains as normal as possible. As far as we're looking at the suspension of internet is concerned, we know that there is only as far as it has been restricted to ensure safety of all personnel and has been restricted to of course telephone internet as clarified by Minister for Information. We'll be talking about what the situation is at this time. Of course, we've seen the statements from the Interior Minister also, and the balancing as far as the government is concerned to ensure that the capital remains safe and secure, and also at the same time the protesters and where is the situation as far as where they're going to be stopping, what do they plan for this protest as of course today and tomorrow. What do we expect? We'll be talking about all of this today. I have with me today ZAHID GISHKORI, who is a senior journalist. Thank you for joining us today. And HASSAN Khan, who's also a senior journalist, to update us on how things are at this time. We'll be joined by other guests also. Let me go to Syed Saab and then I will go to Hassan Saab. Syed Saab, what is the situation at this time? Let's first start off with this. We saw the statements that have come from the Minister for Information and Minister for Interior on the government's efforts at this time to ensure that things remain as normal as possible. How are you looking at things?
Mahrukh, in Islamabad, obviously PTI protesters are trying to get in, but I think it looks like a repeat, what happened earlier this month. Government and all its law enforcing agencies tried to not let the protesters to enter into Islamabad, and they first time ever got a judgment in their favor from Islamabad High Court that there would be no protest, and the court ordered the administration to just let the people freely here in Islamabad and maintain the law and order situation. But yes, obviously the opposition leaders and the party protesting and the call of PTI founder, people are coming out from different parts of the country, no doubt that particularly from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. But the question is that what would happen? Either they would be able to enter into Islamabad and they would be showing their muscles and protest at D-Chowk. This is the question because everyone wants to say here. Yes, it's true that obviously in almost all major cities, blockage and the government and the provincial governments also not let the protesters to proceed for Islamabad. Obviously, first time ever we have seen that motorways and all major roads were blocked at certain places because government does not want PTI to protest what exactly they have been. One thing is very clear that in the past 1.5 years, 120 protests, smaller or bigger in size. The PTI observed these protests across the country where the government was supposed to spend more than 2.7 billion rupees to counter these protests. And obviously the other side of the story was that the business community hurt and business suffered in 3 major cities. So far I assessed in Rawalpindi and Islamabad, obviously in Lahore as well, around 200 billion rupees are lost due to this business disruption by these protests. And also
So when we talk about the protest, when we talk about the government, and the steps that they take, I want your opinion on this. First of all, there is a lot of criticism on, at times there is criticism on the government on, the way that they handle this. But the question is that does the government really have a choice? We know what happened, the convictions that we've seen come out of the 9th May incident. Out of that, we know that there is a clear Afghan element. If we look at, the convictions that have come, there are at least 4 Afghanis of Afghan origin. So then, what choice does the government have but to make sure that things remain safe? We are also looking at foreign dignitaries that are scheduled to come, the visit that is scheduled. We are looking at activities that have to be postponed. So what is your opinion on this as a journalist?
I think, Mahrukh, since 2011, as a journalist, I have been witnessing that the PTI is the only party which has been bringing people to the streets, and sometimes it looks like they come out without having any, the design, certain political designs. Look, first they announced protest and almost blocked the country when a Shanghai Cooperation Organization, one of the prime leading international event, Pakistan hosted first time ever in the recent history. They showed this in 2014. You know better. I don't want to go into the past. And then now a Belarus delegation arrived in Pakistan. More than 50 dignitaries arrived here, and the same situation that Islamabad is totally blocked. So the reasons and the political mobilizations and certainly the land of the situation in the past 2.5 months, country witnessed record terrorist attacks, and this is the situation. Perhaps government retaliated, and one thing is certain that political forces always put their demand on the table, and they discuss and try to find out the solution with the negotiation. And it does not mean that on every weekend, on every month, you convince the people and their followers and protesters, please come out, and this is the situation.
Let me go to Hassan. I'll come back to you, Syed Sahab, on that note. Hassan, there is, first of all, do you think the government has a choice if they want to retain law and order, if they want to ensure safety, if they want to avoid any unsavory incident, if they want to avoid the situation getting out of control? Do they really have a choice, in your opinion?
Thank you very much, Mahrukh. I think it's a $1 million question. Whether the government was having a choice, the government has overreacted to the PTI call for demonstrations in Amar to Islamabad, toward Islamabad. But yes, there is you can say, you can decipher it in a way that there is a overreaction because Islamabad has been closed, especially the main arteries like the...
But Hassan Saab, first of all, is it an overreaction? Let's look at what's happened. Again, the convictions from 9th May, let's look at those. The events of 9th May, let's look at that. We are looking at KP, which is under the CM-ship of Ali Amin Gandapur. And we all know, with due respect to the CM in question, that there is a certain aggression associated with his personality. That's all. I'm not saying I don't know, but the way the things are at this time, is the government not mandated to ensure the safety of its citizen, of its capital, of its federation? That is the question, right? And what do they do if they leave the landscape totally free?
If you have given me the time to complete my sentence, so I would definitely have answered what you are saying. I said some people say it that this is it's in a way it's the overreactions. But my point is that yes, government, as Mr. GISHKORI has said, that the High Court of Islamabad High Court has decided that there will be no demonstrations, and the PTI people have not given any application to the district administration as per the law to seek permissions or a specific place where they can demonstrate. So I think it was totally, in a way, it was just what you call it, the government was entitled, and the government is entitled to ensure that no lies violated, no illegal activity happen in Islamabad. You already know the situation in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The terrorist networks are almost everywhere in almost every district. Almost 25 districts are. There is the proper organization of these networks, and what is going on in Panachina. It's quite unfortunate in Quorum Agency. For the last several days, there are more than 300 people have been butchered, and unfortunately, the provincial government is totally silent over it, and that even the state is silent over it. Yesterday, Pakistan flag was unfortunately brought down, and a flag of a terrorist organization with the name of Zainabiyun. It has been hoisted on a checkpost where the military was. It was the military checkpost, the main gate. So I think the situation on the ground is very precarious, and definitely there were fears that maybe elements. Which the hostile elements or the terrorist elements may take an opportunity or take an advantage of these marches. In that shape, they can come to Islamabad, and you already know it is a huge delegations of friendly countries. Belarus is coming; almost more than 50 delegates are coming today, and they have reached Islamabad. And tomorrow, the president is coming. So it is a very precarious situation, and the government has definitely taken measures to ensure that no illegal activity happen in the capital. There is
question, and it begs the question really that why this in these this time that we are looking at this delegation, we are looking at this visit, we are looking at these dignitaries, the time of this visit, and then of course the coincidence, one can say, of this protest. So every time that we have any kind of dignitaries, we have any kind of visits scheduled, we have this disruption. So clearly, what is the aim here? Is the aim to create enough disruption, to create a stir, which will then do what, in your opinion?
I think, Mahrukh, I can't say that it was a coincidence. The visit of the dignitaries, that this delegation was planned months before, and the decisions to protest or march toward Islamabad and sit in a chowk, it has been taken just a week before by the founder of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. So you can't call it a coincidence. It is. I think it is in a way a planned way to disrupt. Already when there was the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, it was the biggest event. 27 countries were coming to Islamabad. Among them were almost 12, almost 10 heads of states, heads of the government, or the foreign ministers were coming. And on that day, the PTI marchers were also on the roads, and they were trying to.
But Hassan Saab, is this how we are going to play politics? Is this really a trend? Is this what we are setting the tone for the future? We are setting the tone for politics. We are setting, the kind of example that we are setting for the future of this country, for the future of politics, which is going to be based on violence, which is going to be based on strife, which is going to be based on this kind of stir, which is going to, going to cause potentially is supposed to be harmful to the federation, harmful, the violence that is supposed to be harmful enough to create, a humongous kind of incident, God forbid, and then for them to be able to prove that they are powerful enough, or they have the, the numbers. What is, is this what we are angling towards? Because we've seen, I know I'm stretching the question a bit, but if we look at the past, we've become polarized as a nation. We've become, more antagonistic, more aggressive as a nation. Is this where we are going in politics also? Because clearly it is setting a tone for the future. And this is not the first time that the protest has happened at the hands of this political party.
Hello, I'm on live.
Ji, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mahrukh. Look, I think this is quite unfortunate. If you were a normal society, if the state was functioning normal, I think when day before yesterday, when 50 people were butchered on the main roads, and then the violence broke out in one of our districts. So I think that there should have been a call of the strikes. If we were normal people, if there were any concern for the people of Pakistan or for the government for the state of Pakistan, unfortunately, in Pakistan, nobody care for Pakistan. It's just the personal the what you call it priorities, or the group's priorities, or the what you call it the institutional priorities. So everybody will be telling you that this is in the interest of the institution, this is in the interest of the political party, this is in the interest of a certain ethnic groups. So this is quite unfortunate, and this is happening. As I said, there were almost 200 people died in a day in 24 hours. And nothing is, there is an iota of expression on either Islamabad is silent over it, Peshawar is silent.
This, Hassan Sahib, this is, I think, something that needs to be spoken about. I know that you have limited time. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to go to Syed Sahib with this. Syed Sahib, I think something that Hassan has just spoken about, it's very relevant, it's very important. What kind of a nation are we? What kind of a country are we? What kind of people are we that nearly 200 people died not a few days ago, and yet we have a protest. We have a protest being led by the CM of that province. We as a country, why have we not reeled with shock at what has happened? Why have we not stopped this kind of futile what can one say, maneuver that we see happening in our politics today? What are your thoughts on this as a journalist? I know that you've seen things for a while, and you know that what's happened in the past also. But where are we headed? This is a deeply troubling question, or at least it should be for all of us.
Absolutely, Mahrukh. With the continuity of Hassan, this is absolutely unacceptable. This is unfortunate. If you recall it, that's in 2014, that Dharna continued, and Army Public School incident, the worst kind of terror attack ever in Pakistan history, occurred during that time. And it happened time to time that what exactly, it paralyzed the whole state. In the past 1.5 years, if just you go through different events, we can't blame the government. That government becoming harsh on the protesters and so many things. But on the other hand, the key events happening in the country, more than 1,000 delegates. We were talking about SCO meetings. The head of the government landed in Pakistan. Again, Islamabad pictures were giving a loud and clear message even to India as well, one of our hostile neighbors. There were different stories about Pakistan. But in the past 48 hours, you can see that a couple of terror attacks in Pakistan, and same thing is going on. And you were talking about the Chief Minister, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the statements coming out from him. What exactly they want for? They just want to take Imran Khan out of jail.
Let me come back to you. We have Ikhtiar Wali from the PMLN with us, and then I'll come back to you, Syed Sahib. Ikhtiar Sahib, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Ikhtiar Sahib, what is, there are some, we are looking at different comments, we are looking at different statements coming. Those that say that the government, is perhaps dealing with this by, over aggressively. How would you respond to those?
Thank you very much for inviting me in your show. In fact, a government is not dealing with PTI people aggressively, but we are taking and dealing them with responsibly. And we are just trying to prevent to make sure the lives and belongings of the civilian people who are living over here in Islamabad and everywhere in Pakistan. But unfortunately, the leadership of the PTI and especially the chairman of PTI, ex-chairman, the Bani, he is a totally an irresponsible person, and in fact, he wants an NRO from the present government above the law, beyond the law. He thinks and he demands like to forget about the court, forget about the witnesses, forget about 190 million pounds. He thinks and he demands to forget about the 9th of May, and he thinks to forget about everything and set him free, which is totally unjustified. And
have, like you said, that he is an unreasonable person, and that he hasn't been able to act responsibly, and the political party also. But why has the government consistently failed to engage the PTI as a political party in dialogue and to get to some kind of a way forward with them? They have a presence in the parliament, in assemblies all over, and therefore, and of course, they are very much in power in one province. That is a reality that you must face, and all political parties and the government must face. So why has there been a consistent failure by the government to engage them in any way?
Look, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is burning, the Kurram district is burning, the Palachinar is burning. More than 100 of people have been killed. More than 100 houses have been set to fire. More than 100 shops have been set to fire. And the chief executive of the unfortunate province, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Mr. Ali Amin Gandapur, chanting the slogans, Chalo Chalo to Islamabad, Chalo Chalo to Yalghar Karo, like Isra. They are moving towards Islamabad, to attacking the capital. And they are, like you are saying, that why we are failed, why the government is failed to make them stuck. No, we are not failed. In fact, this is something again very unfortunate that they have gone through a process and they have ruled this country for almost 4 years, but they couldn't deliver. And unfortunately, they couldn't learn how to behave like a political leader. Their leader, Mr. Imran Khan, he couldn't learn how to behave like a political leader, and the PTI couldn't learn and doesn't know how to behave like a political party. This is something very unfortunate.
There is no denying the fact that, when you are saying that he has, we've seen the cipher narrative, we saw the statements come from, the founder of PTI and his wife, a few days ago. Be that as it may, the onus of bringing them to the table, do you agree, really falls in your lap as the government, or does it not? Syed Saab, I think we've lost contact with Ikhtiyar Saab. Syed Saab, again, the onus really, in your opinion, does it not rest with the government, or do you think that they have really, they're optionless and they've tried their best? It just seems, if you talk to the government, they say that as far as PTI as a political party is concerned and their founder, to them the only course of action open is trying to create as much strife and trying to create as much aggression, aggressive style of politics, as much of a stir, to use a very mild word, as possible. And that is the only kind of politics they believe in. What are your thoughts on this?
I think both sides are responsible, Mahrukh. Look, on the one side, PTI has given 3 demands to the government. 2 demands particularly could not be met at this stage of time, because the first, they want release of all political prisoners. And obviously, this could be negotiated, and I think they should take stock with this. And secondly, they want, the reversal of 26th Amendment. And the third one, obviously, their demand is about the probe into alleged rigging in 2024 election. So uh, there could be possibilities because they can start with this step that all political prisoners somehow majority of them could be released with negotiation. And then the second step, there could be a demand, any commission by either.
Possible to bypass the law. If they want that, the founder of PTI should be released, that can only happen through the courts, no?
Obviously, you are right, Mahrukh, but their demand is not that. This is a political slogan, and they want him to get out of jail. It could not happen at all. But yes, the demand. I was discussing that they can take the start about all these things. What are they discussing? But they are not serious at all because they never engage the government. If you look into their history, and even the government is not responding to them because now government has little bit an edge as it's on a different position, and the negotiation table is quite different. The numbers have been changed now, and 6 months before, the situation was different. Now, government got the desired result, what exactly it wanted for in the past 9 months, and now this is the reason that the PTI founder and PTI top leadership showed their willingness to negotiate on all key challenges, whatever we can say. This is the reason, and now the government is not willing at this stage. I think this is the reason they are giving harsh stance, and they are just coping with the protesters and so many things. But this is not good for the state. When government and the economy started improving, the base index, it's almost 1,000 marks. It's almost about to cross the new history, and some negotiations and MOUs and pledges came out from different friendly countries with the platform of SIC. So
the PTI as a political party is also getting desperate after particularly the constitutional amendments have gone through?
I think, Mahrukh, it's an odd of possibilities. In politics, all political parties keep cards open. And if they want to really get a reversal for 26th Amendment, they can engage the government and different political parties, particularly the parliamentary political parties, and they can sit together and get out a way out acceptable to all political parties. This could happen, and it should happen even, although for the good cause, for the good cause, for the good for the people. But it would not happen if the party does not engage itself with other political parties sitting in the parliament. So this is a give and take this should be a give and take like situation. For PTI, it would not work ever. Whenever you say take my way or the highway, this political design or this policy of any political party would not work because this system would collapse. Otherwise, the political party would not engage themselves or engage one another.
I think is going to happen if, of course, we've seen other protests happen from the same political party. The protest happens tomorrow, it fizzles out, we've seen a pattern here. What do you think will happen in the future? What kind of course of action? Do you think we are looking at more protests? We are looking at more agitation down the road? How do you look at things at this time when we look at the immediate future, in your opinion?
I think, Mahrukh, this is a very important question. Everybody wants to know about it, that what would happen in coming months in Pakistan. I don't see the people would not come out now because they are tired of what exactly about the slogans. And even government should focus on people problems, massive problems, because there are certain challenges. Yes, economy now slowly and gradually improving. Indicators are positive. Business started some witnessing positivity in Pakistan. I think this government should at least complete 5 year, and then PTI also should.
So we are looking at, as far as the government is concerned, there's a clear agenda as far as economy is concerned. There seem to be, they are following that step by step. Whatever vision that they have at this time, they're going ahead with that. Whether we look at, inflation coming down, whether we look at privatization moving forward at whatever pace, and we look at, those broad guidelines. When we look at reforms, all of those things. When we look at constitutional reforms, we've seen that they've gone ahead. There may be more to follow. We don't know. But the question is that in that way, we see that the government is forging ahead, but and in the meantime, we see that from time to time we come up with these protests, we come up with these statements that have to do with different political, different friendly countries, and they allude to a lot of involvement. They allude to a lot of, what is, not a very pleasant kind of interference, which, and without proof, quite baseless, so to speak, and which keeps on coming. And whether it's a ploy to stay relevant, what do you think it is, in your opinion?
I think the government should show generosity and give some relief to PTI at some stage, and PTI should also focus on their important cases to plead with it. It could happen even in coming 6 months, they can get relief. But on the other hand, what happened on 9th May, it started now yielding its result. The first case judgment, we have seen it that many accused were convicted. So now this, I think, sequence has started now, and many more judgments would coming out in the coming weeks. So PTI should understand that what happened on 9th May and what exactly happened after that. They should review its policy to become a good political party, because the statement given by the former First Lady and wife of founder PTI about Pakistan foreign policy hitting a new low with a very friendly country, because we have seen reaction from different certain quarters. So obviously it shows immaturity that what exactly was cooking up within the high ranks of PTI, and now it's coming out hurting the state foreign policy and many other things as well. So they should understand. But I think in the past 1 week, the PTI founder changed his behavior. He did not mention any of establishment name or anything else in his talks with media representative in the jail.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'll come back to you. We have with us Abid Abbasi Saab, who's a senior journalist. Thank you for joining us, senior analyst. Abid Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, Mahrukh, I can hear you.
Abid Saab, we have spoken from time to time on the protests also, and from the general activity we've seen as far as PTI as a political party is concerned. Do you think that there's generally, as far as the governance, the style of governance that we saw in the past, when PTI was in power also, and the former Prime Minister also, and there was a lot of criticism from within his party, from outside also, that there was generally a lot of disorganization. There was a lot of things were being said from different places, from different people, being attributed to him that weren't necessarily true, and then they were later denied by him. So there was a lot of disorganization, one can say, and lack of coherence. Do you think that is also now showing in the political party itself? Because so many statements that are made are attributed to him. Of course, he is not present, he is incarcerated, and then they are later denied, and that there are too many cooks, so to speak, that seem to be spoiling the broth. No?
Thank you very much, Mahrukh, for your invitation in your show. Yes, you have very rightly said, elaborated, that Unfortunately, the PTI, right from its inception, if we can say it in 2011, it was supported by the state institution, and it portrayed itself as a revolutionary political party. They have not used the set pattern of democratic, dispensation in the country. Rather, they have adopted the coercive measures and the so-called revolutionary measures, arm twisting of the state institutions and the judiciary and all that. We have seen that while being even in the politics, the same style, while being in the government, the same style of politics they have continued to carry on. Unfortunately, when after in 9th of May, we see, and this is an open secret now, that some of the support from within the institutions, some of the people, I could refer Shahrukh Hameed and other people, they were behind them, and they were, guiding them. They were, sort of telling them that these measures should be taken to get your objectives achieved. Unfortunately, it is not like that. The politics in Pakistan is a very complex phenomena, and unfortunately, the support which was being given to them from the institutions and even from the judiciary, if we could say in the very recent past, that has, encouraged them to use the same tactics to carry on in the country. Unfortunately, on the other hand, the government in fashion that couldn't, deal with this phenomena, and they have still using that, sort of high-handedness to achieve their objectives. If we would say that Imran Khan, the founder of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, he is in jail, and there are some cases against him, and those cases are being, proceeded in the courts of the country. That is the only way that he should get some sort of relief, and he should get out of. While using these pressure tactics and these dharnas, and we have seen that dharna 128 days in Islamabad in 2014, that has massively damaged the economic interest of the country. And even today, we have...
Abid Saab, what do you expect now? And I think this is a question I asked Syed Saab also. This dharna and, whatever happens with regard to that, and then, we see whether it moves, if it fizzles out, will we see another one happen a few, weeks from now, a month or two from now? What do you foresee?
I think everything has its logical conclusion. And now that I think the state institutions and the government of the country is of the view that enough is enough now. Now these dharnas, these sort of, pressure tactics should be ended. The peaceful protest is the right of every citizen of the country. And being a political party, one of the biggest political parties of the country, this is their right. But to, attack the capital of the country and to sit there and to stop and to halt the business of the government, this should not be allowed, and this is not allowed everywhere in the world, and even in Pakistan, because we all know that we are passing through a very, sort of severe economic crunch in the country. The people of Pakistan are facing, our debt is, multiplied with every passing days. We are in a situation, in a paradox, and unfortunately that paradox, the PTI and its leader were, to a great extent is responsible for this, sort of political crunch in the country while being in the government.
They feel that the buck must stop here. You're right. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for joining us, Abid Saab. Thank you for being with us. ZAHID GISHKORI Saab, thank you for joining us today. Hassan Khan Saab, thank you for being with us today. Overall, what happened in Parachanar, what has been happening in KP, the security situation that is unfolding there, and the people that have died in KP, it would perhaps have been more prudent by the political party itself and KP, the CM KP himself, to lead a peaceful protest of people in KP. In solidarity and to remember those that have died in these incidents, rather than needing convoys and aiming to unleash aggression or aiming to cause a stir in the capital. And that is something that perhaps as Pakistanis we all must think about at this time when so many have died, and KP clearly leads even as we talk about the protest that is intending to happen on the capital. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.